He was one of the strongest leaders that I've met during my time of being involved in politics in this state. He was able to pull together coalitions of folk that could represent very, very different interests and have them come together around a common cause and be effective as a result of their coming together. And we don't see too many conveners that are able to do what Lee Holloway was able to do during his time in office.
While I was the council president, Chairman Holloway was the chairman of the county board. So he and I worked excellently together. He was just a tremendous force, not only at the county, but within the city as well.
He was a very strong leader in the county board as chairman. It's kind of interesting to know when I talk to people about Lee after he passed, they would always say the chairman. The chairman. I would say, oh, okay. So he wore that title well, and he represented the county in the central city well.
When you look at African American politics in this community, we were at our zenith when Holloway was chairman of the county board. I don't think there had been a time before or a time since when African Americans at the county level of government anyhow had as much influence over policies and finances in county government.
I knew Lee because I lived in the Sherman Park neighborhood for about 16 years, and he was my county supervisor.
I have to say he was a man of integrity and principle. He fought for his constituents. He loved Milwaukee. I knew him when he was holding office. I knew him because I used to help the handicapped people and people who didn't have nothing. I would go to him and ask him to let me rent the houses for them, or we'd make a deal for poor people who didn't have a home.
Lee Holloway appointed me interim county exec. But even before that time, I knew Lee as a person, as a stalwart, really, in the community over ICDP and over Milwaukee Community Health Center. So Lee was always around and always doing some things, and one of the few people who worked in males who worked in health care.
I think of Badger Care because had it not been for Lee Holloway, the program that gives health care to minorities, poor people, old people, was his concept that was borrowed by the state.
He was community. He was there. He was around. When there was events, he would be there, whereas sometimes, not all our politicians, but some of them, but he was definitely one that was involved in our community.
Lee was the kind of brother who brought strength, courage, power, commitment, love. He reminds me of a person who says to himself or herself, why am I here? What is my purpose in life? And as a black man, and having the benefit of being a black man in this century, there's much to do and much need to fulfill your mission. I saw him as a man with a mission in life to bring truth and justice to the planet. And he was blessed to be able to do that. And God blessed him with the strength and insight and determination and courage to do that. And he did it in spite of numerous obstacles.
He was actually one of those gentlemen that I could say to the young people I was working with, this is a gentleman that went to Lincoln High School, that grew up here, that is one of you guys, and he made it in politics. So inspiration to some of the other young people was definitely my memory of him as I grew up as a young person working with Running Rebels.
I know Lee Holloway as a community leader, and he was a mentor of mine. He was a fine example for a young man coming up in politics of how to stand your ground, how to mean what you say and say what you mean. So it was real inspiring to have somebody like him in a position of power in this city because he didn't take any mess.
He was somebody that looked out for the community. that he was diligent about making sure that his constituents were represented.
A strong leader, someone that is not easily shaken, that stands solid on his beliefs, but while he is strong and solid, he's also kind and gentle giant, one that has the capacity to be able to recognize that if I need to back off, I can, but I'm not afraid to step it up on behalf of my family, on behalf of my community, and he did an excellent job doing that.
I would say that he had his ways, but deep down when you knew him, he was a helping man. But he did it in his own style.
If I needed anything, I could call him. If I saw him out, I could talk to him. The one thing that I know about Lee Holloway, he was not bought and paid for by anybody. He stood for the people in the Sherman Park community and beyond. So he's gonna be missed, but his legacy will live on.
Lee was a strong advocate. You knew where he stood.
I really think that he was one of the most engaging leaders that you would ever meet, but he was also one of the most powerful people that you would ever meet.
He was a man of strength and power. I considered him to be a warrior.
He was a fighter. Rumble, young man, rumble. You know, I say this, politics is a rough and tumble game. And unless you're ready to go at it, you need to leave it alone. I speak from experience and observation. And Lee gave as good as he got. If you tangle with him, you better bring your lunch, because he had commitment, determination, and resources. You know, he would spend that money because that's what it takes when you're fighting a harsh and intense system. And that's what it was. That's what it is. It's a system. It's a system dedicated to the undermining of black people. If you want me to speak, I will speak what I know. And here was a man who took it on fearlessly. And he's got to be admired for that legacy. That's Lee Holloway.